You know, maybe Miyazaki was right. Anime really was a mistake. This is Ashley with WatchMojo, and today we're going to be counting down our picks for the top 20 worst anime of the century so far.
I love the smell of fresh concrete in the morning.
This guy's bad news.
For this list, we're tackling the ultimate stinkers, the worst series to ever spawn from the medium and pollute our viewing experience. This isn't so bad it's good, this is tear out your eyes, lower than the bottom of the barrel, swear off anime for life trash. Whether it's due to crappy quality, horrendous storytelling, disgusting concepts, the worst of the worst are all right here. Be very afraid. But first, don't forget to hit me up on Twitter at AshJBo and let me know which anime list you want to see next. Number 20, The Thousand Noble Musketeers.
我々は護送部隊を襲撃し、ネルソン氏を救出する。
Small mercies that we never ended up meeting the remainder of these 1,000 bare-bone caricatures, all of which happen to be humanized versions of famous firearms, manufactured for all those otome lovers out there. Even if it's based on a low-tier video game, there's no excuse for a series to be this terrible in quality.
あ、ラップ。どうする？教える？ラップが聞きたいっていうのなら。
Given the enormous range of characters, nobody gets any kind of development outside of the typical bringing sexy back stare. The gunfights are laughable, the animation is so poorly put together that characters' expressions start peeling off between frames, and honestly, the only thing noble about Brown Bess and his band is that they're so forgettable.
ああ、わかってるよ。
Number 19, Diabolik Lovers.
俺に関わるな。それ以上近づいたらぶっ壊してやる。
It's crap like this that gives the reverse harem genre a bad name, especially when the host of grimdark vampiric love interests aren't so much dominant in their approach to romance as they are sadistic, abusive, creepy, and deserve to have wooden stakes shoved up their bat caves. After being sent to a gothic mansion, useless lead Yui is preyed upon by a set of blood-sucking brothers, all of whom aren't keen on asking for permission before they go about touching her up and using her as a blood bank.
決まってんだろ。お前をいただくんだよ。
It's just unpleasant to watch. Seriously, how can anyone consider swooning over a guy who yeets the girl he likes into a pool despite knowing she can't swim?
俺のやることにいちいちケチつけんじゃねえよ。
Number 18, Island of the Giant Insects. Please let there never be a continuation of this schlockfest. Once was more than enough. After their plane crash lands on a random island, a group of students and teachers find themselves coming under threat of giant insects, and have to find a way to escape before they're eaten, or worse. While it certainly holds back on some of the manga's obscene elements involving cross-species nastiness, that doesn't stop it from going full fanservice. Every female character feels like a busty trophy just waiting to be tossed into another sticky situation. The gore is all shock and no substance, and quite frankly, we're just disturbed by the fact some people are clearly getting off on this kind of content. Number 17, Superior Defender Gundam Force.
I sense that the time I've spent with Shoot has somehow changed something from deep within me.
What's an example of a legitimately good Gundam series aimed at a younger audience that everyone can still enjoy? Try Build Fighters or Age, at least you can have fun with them. This is the blight on Sunrise's reputation that they likely wish they could undo. Small-scale talking mobile suits with weird moe girl eyes that duke it out in some truly terrible animated fight scenes, all the while some creepy kid follows around the lead mecha like an infatuated maiden. Seriously, Shoot makes Chris Thorndike look tame by comparison.
Well, I've heard about these things. It's the Aurora Borealis. On second thought, whoa!
It's just a strange, pointless venture that probably still gives Tamino nightmares. Number 16, Conception.
なんで？
There are hentai out there that have more dignity than this series. taking the worst elements from the harem subgenre with a plot that could only come from a crappy JRPG dating sim. It's not so much that the story revolves around the lead having to bed a dozen women in order to create offspring to defeat a great evil, it's the almost clinical approach it takes towards such a ridiculous premise.
俺の子供を産んでほしい
This could only work if it were highly self-aware, was saturated in charm, and pushed the comedy factor to 11. Here, they don't even get down and dirty, just lots of pillow talk before poof, Deus Ex childbirth.
本当にいいのか俺の子供を産んでくれるのか
Number 15, Hakyu Hoshin Engi. You want to talk about whiplash?
もちろんでありますよ。
Take a gander at this adaptation. What's it about? Who are the characters? Why is there a flying hippo? No idea, because the pacing in this series is all over the place. Everything goes by so damn quickly, we have no idea what's happening. Capturing monsters? Sealing spirits? Gods and humanity going to war? Try as we might, the breakneck speed and endless flurry of lore shoved in our faces is just too much to grasp. And that's all in the first episode.
妖精の本性が何であれ、わしは見捨てぬ。
No wonder fans started to petition to get it redone. Number 14, Martian Mansion.
あんたまた呼び出されたのマジで
It's tragic that for all the strides the magical girl genre has taken to overturn conventions, there are shows like this that are content to indulge in all manner of stereotypes and clichés, to the extent that it's almost sickening. The premise may present itself as wondrous and inspired by fairy tales, yet forcing ourselves to watch this obnoxiously inept bookworm travel to a fantasy world because, insert stupid reason here, proved to be more trouble than it was worth.
そういう言い方やめてあげません
If the animation was actually magical, then maybe it would have been easier to stomach, but the longer the series went on, the more the character models began to melt.
私の好きな食べ物はハンバーガーです
Number 13, My Sister, My Writer.
待て待て俺の好みを勝手に決めようとするな
It started with Aremo, descended with Eromanga Sensei, and finally came to a head with this. The ultimate degenerate expression of incestuous eroticism through the art of Japanimation. Basically, this series is the one that pushed the how can I legally do my sister subgenre way too far.
それでは早速デートしましょうかお兄ちゃん
While it features all the convoluted and forced pervy moments you would expect, what really drags this series into the gutter is how it combines all this unpleasantness without any likable side characters, as well as some truly abysmal quality. It's kind of staggering how bad things got after it aired.
汗をかいてちょっと気持ち悪くて
Number 12, Glasslip. Just goes to show that high school drama doesn't automatically equate to anime gold.
私には無理心臓壊れる
There actually has to be a driving force behind the plot. Otherwise, there's a chance it might meander into nothingness, like this horrible misstep. The greatest sin the series makes is that it never progresses. Seriously, for all the obstacles that are put in front of the cast, including the occasional vision of the future, there's no evolution in regards to characters, plots, or anything else. Because apparently all you need to make an artistic slice of life is to have girls with shimmering eyes look into the camera. Tell that to everyone who slogged their way through it.
あれ面白くない
お父さんそのくらいにしといた方がいいんじゃない
Number 11, Fist of the Blue Sky, Regenesis.
お前ら猿王に文句があるのか
Wow, 2018 was a horrendous year for anime. Anyway, what in the flying fisticuffs did you bastards do to our boy? Okay, so technically this isn't the Hokuto Shinken master we've come to know and love. This is a different iteration focusing on a new hulking mass of muscle that can make people explode, also conveniently named Kenshiro.
バレてた
Still doesn't take away from how atrocious it is. Whatever joy could possibly be garnered from seeing these crazy combatants go at it is destroyed when the CGI comes into play. Character models are poorly rendered, the fight scenes have no impact, there are Fist of the North Star video game cutscenes that are more compelling. We'll admit that the opening theme slaps though. Number 10, Big Order.
なんてね。
Maybe it's our fault for thinking the spiritual successor to Future Diary was going to be anything but a frustrating watch, but when the result is so poor that we'd rather watch Yuno's yandere face on loop than another episode of Big Failure over here, you know something's gone wrong. When a wish to bring peace results in catastrophe, generic anime dude bro must find a way to protect his sick sister while utilizing his newfound powers. And also getting bunny girls pregnant by accidentally grabbing their ears. This thing is all over the place, sloppy at the best of times, to the point where your one wish would be to undo the memory of it.
Number
9, Skelter Heaven.
そんなことはありません。けど、みんなを呼びに。
Pretty sure the creative team behind this mistake were trying to destroy the anime industry back in the day, on account that they were responsible for unleashing both this, as well as 2 other infamous contenders that we'll get to later. All you need to know about this is, well, the CGI speaks for itself. It's a bunch of cardboard cutouts posing as characters taking on a random alien threat with some really, really shoddy animation. One that's way too pleased with itself as far as that ending twist goes. Number 8, Wise Man's Grandchild.
やっぱり、神様ほどの方になると、すでに決まった方がいるのよ。
You heard right, the ultimate insult to stem from the isekai apocalypse. We detested every single moment we had to watch Shin Wolford and his merry band of ultimate go screw yourselves magicians be paraded on screen. Sure, the intro was harmless enough, it even caught us off guard with its fun premise, but the longer it went on, the hollower it became. Devoid of interesting characters, devoid of likability, devoid of anything close to resembling a believable romance, and that's by harem genre standards too, but most of all, it's due to just how infuriating the lead was. If you want to make him Magic Jesus, at least make him compelling. Number 7, Musashi Gundou.
どちらを打たれたい？右か左か？頭か腹かだ？
When a series' terrible quality forces a public apology from the creators, you know you're dealing with a special kind of animated turd. While we can see some fans enjoying a couple of episodes, while highly inebriated, it's impossible to wade through all 26 episodes of this poorly rendered, dismal excuse of a show.
負けた。じいさん、あいつに負けたのか？
The sound mixing alone is enough to disregard it as a failure, and yet the longer you watch, the worse it gets. You can barely grasp the plot due to how awful some of these frames are, to the point where something like a dual revolver wielding samurai can't save it from its own flaws. Number 6, Handshakers.
夢なら覚めてほしい。
This is a cluster that has to be seen to be believed, and even then, we're still not sure what exactly we watched. A fever dream of a series that thinks it's the deepest thing since Evangelion, all based around the notion that by holding hands with a special someone, you can trigger an alternate dimension, battle other superpowered handholders, and work your way up to meeting God.
そうね。それじゃあ8組目の相手を招待してあげようかな。
Yep, it's as stupid as it sounds, especially with any lack of self-awareness, as well as dizzying camera work, and a visual style that doesn't so much seamlessly merge 2D and CGI together as they do drown one with the other and call it art. How did this get a sequel?
ずっと眠っていたから。だから俺は何も感じなかったんだ。
Number 5, Vampire Holmes.
俺を虫けらのように踏むな。
Quickfire anime shorts, while easy to make, are actually pretty tricky to nail down. You have to stuff as much of the plot in as possible and execute it within a couple of minutes, or it'll come out a failure. Or in the case of this piece of crap, a travesty that somehow succeeds in insulting Sherlock Holmes, vampires, comedy, short-form anime, and our intelligence all at once.
このまま当分の世界に浸っていたい
Who in their right mind thought that watching a jackass, terribly rendered version of the famous detective upsetting Watson over and over would be even moderately entertaining? Yeah, they call him Hudson in this, but who cares?
こんなところに探し物があった
Number 4, Eiken.
Hello there. I was told that I could participate too. May I?
If you ever wanted to see what the result would be if a series amped up its fan service to gross proportions, feast your eyes. That's if you can. Chances are the humongous assets of the characters are likely blocking your view. Basic rundown: the beta male of all beta males ends up roped into living with a bunch of incredibly busty women, and that's about it. The excessive phallic imagery, zero characterization, and absence of any kind of plot strips this show of all its charm, to the point where you'll have a newfound appreciation for other ecchi shows. Can't believe I have to keep reiterating this, but if you want to make a hentai, just make a hentai.
No problem, right? It's not a problem.
Number 3, Pupa.
生まれながらにして歯が生え揃っていました。まるで自分が化け物であることを主張するように。
There are many shades of horror, with plenty of examples out there of how to successfully make shock value and excessive gore work in service to the greater story. Pupa doesn't achieve any of this.
では、おっぱい揉ませてください。
In fact, it fails on all levels, with only a flimsy legacy left to stand on, one that can be summarized as cannibal incest fun times.
血にまみれて一心に肉を頬張る妹の姿
When two siblings are infected with a virus that turns one into a man-eating monster and the other into a regenerator, you can see where it's going. It's unpleasant, it's fetishized, and at only a couple of minutes per episode, there's nothing here to make us care nor build any kind of suspense.
夢どうした夢
Number 2, Generation of Chaos.
こいつにはまだ俺の声が届く。
Oh, this is a bad one. Really, really bad. Though, what can you expect from the unholy trinity of abhorrent anime, brought to us courtesy of Idea Factory? No surprise, all three have ended up on this list, with this fantasy adventure going out of its way to show us how not to create a prologue. A tie-in to a video game of the same title, this OVA provides 3 scenarios that are apparently meant to introduce us to the world, the lead characters, and how they set out on their quests, but in actuality, it's more akin to a misshapen love child of Slayers and Monster Rancher, if it was given a budget in the minus numbers. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, Mars of Destruction. Apparently, Skelter Heaven and Generation of Chaos wasn't enough of a punishment, since Idea Factory later subjected anime fans to this monstrosity. It's kind of amazing that in the space of a single episode, they can get so much wrong. The visuals are bland and have no impact, the soundtrack is obnoxious, there's no characters to speak of aside from a bunch of high-pitched voices with differing hairstyles. Even the death scenes, which the anime wants us to feel so invested in, equate to nothing more than someone getting their head cropped off in MS Paint. As an alien invasion story, a thriller, and an anime in general, it's all one big dumpster fire. But hey, maybe you've watched worse. Let me know on Twitter.
俺たちがこの星を侵略した
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.